Rolodex is one of the most impressive, I'm sure, ever has existed. You and Nelly have a fabulous relationship, and you've already been breaking down these NBA Finals.
Yeah, we do appreciate you joining us today, my man. And just for the record, you did hit me yesterday, and you said, hey, you're being too hard on my boy. And I wasn't even thinking straight. And your boy is obviously Jayson Tatum. And I said, okay, you have a point. But then you reminded me of just how far back you go with all your connections to the life and times of Jayson Tatum. Could you please walk us back through all of those connections, please?
I mean, to be frank, I mean, you know, St. Louis, we're not that big, man. So everybody that gets a chance to make it to a certain level, we all try to, you know, support each other in one way or another. And this is no different. I went to school with his mom. I've seen his father and what some would say his godfather and uncle play at one of the best high schools in St. Louis called CBC. And his father was a phenomenal basketball player, as well as Larry Hughes, which some may consider as like his godfather / uncle. And I mean, Jayson's just been around the game his whole life, man. And I've known him basically his whole life as well. So to see him succeed right now is dope.
How good was his father? Describe his game, the dad's game.
Oh man, his father played big, man. His father was a big guy, man. He played at CBC as well as SLU, St. Louis University as well. Him and Larry, and together, them two, man, they won a lot of games and brought a lot of excitement to St. Louis. And Jayson's doing that right now, and you know the city's on fire with the support for him, and you know we're all excited for him.
So when was the first time you saw Jayson actually play basketball?
I mean, you know what? When Larry used to do like a lot of his basketball camps in St. Louis, you see him over there on the side dribbling the ball, shooting around, and things like that from a young pup. But I mean, I guess he's always was a big kid. I mean, you know, I'm not tall at all, so I mean, he probably was my height at 6. But but I mean, you know, you could just tell this is where he was destined to be, man. And you know, again, it's just great to support him.
Didn't you see him play or play against him some in the park nearby where you guys live?
Oh, well, I mean, we all play ball at Heman Park. Heman Park in University City, where me and his mom grew up. You know, it's a legendary park for basketball in our community. And we played a lot. We played a lot there. And yeah, I mean, he didn't too much play with us. He was very, very young.
Yeah.
But you know, he had his time.
Far away.
He joked after the game that you're probably the most famous guy from St. Louis. He says, but that title is only temporary. He's looking to take that title from you.
Yeah.
When you
when you
hear JT talk about you in St. Louis, how does that make you feel? Because he's paying homage to the OG.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's incredible. That's incredible. I think that's, you know, when you get in any of this business, Shannon, man, you know, that's all we want to do, especially when you come from humble means and in certain situations like that we come from, we just try to inspire. We try to lead by example, so to speak, and hopefully somebody can take what we were doing and where we came from and use it as inspiration to make their dreams come true. And like we said again in St. Louis, we don't have very many, man. So, you know, I did it with Ced. You know, Ced the Entertainer. I watched the OG, and I said I want a car as big as Ced's. You know what I'm saying? and I mean, I think that's how the domino effect starts.
So you watch this kid grow up, and he's still a kid to us because he's only 24 years of age, has played 5 NBA seasons. What's the ceiling? What do you want to see from him? How all-time great in your eyes could he become?
There's no telling, man. That's what's so great about what he's doing right now, because we don't know. I think right now he's always had the athletic features. He's always had the capability as far as you know, his frame. He probably just stopped growing last week. It seems like so, you know, it's just like when you're watching the game and you're watching him play, because, you know, I always encourage him to touch the rim. I say, yo, man, I just need to see you touch the rim more. You know what I'm saying? Like get in that paint, touch the rim. And, he's such a phenomenal shooter, and he's been shooting the ball since he could pick it up. But I love to see him get to the rack, man, and just play big. And I think he did that last series, and you see what's happening.
You were in the crowd, and you, like you said, you performed at the halftime.
Whoa.
And Clay mentioned about the crowd and the antics that they had going on. And Clay and Steve Kerr sarcastically referred to the crowd as classy. What was the atmosphere like?
Not classless.
Where he was trying to be
sarcastic. Because they were doing the FU. Draymond,
What was the atmosphere like in the Garden?
Man, that was definitely. It was serious, bro. It was serious. I think the only time I probably, I don't know, baseball, I'm a huge baseball fan. So when I think of baseball, I think of St. Cubs and Cardinals rivalry, so to speak. And, that's definitely not a love-hate. That's definitely a hate-hate relationship when it comes to sport. So to hear that, and I wasn't too far from where, Golden State was sitting. And you can tell they heard it. You watch some teams that's probably used to it, that's probably used to getting it. And, they kind of shun it off a little bit. But you could tell that they heard it, man, because it was shaking the floor. And they was letting you know you were in Boston. Draymond, they was letting you know they knew your name. They probably knew your address, what car you drove, what time your flight was out. And you could just hear it, and it was coming from all angles, buddy. So, I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest sports cities of all time, though, in Boston. So they knew what their job was, and they played it to the T.
So, Nelly, a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, a lot of debate. Can Jayson and Jaylen Brown play together long term? Will they stay together? What's your gut feeling on that?
I hope so. I truly hope so. I tell them that. JT and JB, man, I love JB as well. He's a phenomenal player. He's young as well. And I don't see why they wouldn't try to make it work on both ends, even, from the Celtics side and definitely from the player side. I think both of those guys together, like we talked about earlier, as far as the feeling, there's no telling where this thing can end up, man. And, I think both of them play well off of each other, especially defensive-wise. I think they both do a phenomenal job of picking one another up, at times, because you can see one may not have it going and the other is right there with them like, hey, yo, let's go, or back, same thing, man. And, I hope so. I tell them all the time that they need to stick to sew each other to the hip.
But, Nelly, you know how this works. A duo will work as long as they like, okay, I'm content with my place. It's when when Kobe actually felt, I'm better than Shaq. It was a situation where Kyrie says, I'm as good, if not better than LeBron. Pippen, the reason why Pippen stayed with Jordan is because he never thought he was better than Michael Jordan.
Until later.
Until he started writing the book and started doing the documentary, and then he thought he was better than. But at the time, he didn't think that. You know how this thing works. It's like you've been in a group. As long as the group is fine with Nelly leading the St. Lunatics, we good. Yeah. But when somebody else says, hold on, let your boy sing lead. Yeah, I need to get that. That's going to be a problem. When Teddy Pendergrass could out sing Harold Melvin, even though Harold Melvin wasn't doing nothing, the Blue Notes broke up.
Yep.
You know how this goes, man. No, you 1,000% right. I mean, life has a funny way of working itself out. Like my grandmama used to say, man makes mistakes, Mother Nature never makes mistakes. She always knew it was going to rain tomorrow, whether you did or didn't.
Right.
So, I mean, hopefully, again, they're two smart guys, man, and they're two talented young brothers. And again, my fingers are crossed for them. But we'll have to see.
Did you get to meet the other night the young new coach of the Boston Celtics?
No, you know what? I didn't. And let me tell you why, though. He's an intense brother, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's an intense brother, man, and I loved it. And I loved watching him on the sideline.
Yep.
I loved watching him You can see him gathering his thoughts. You can see him coaching from a mental standpoint of trying to be 1 or 2 plays ahead.
Yep.
And sometimes you see coaches, they might be 1 or 2 plays behind. It seems like sometimes things happen and certain coaches react. And then you see certain things, certain coaches react to things that are about to happen. And he sees it coming. And you can tell he sees it coming. And I think that's kind of like what you want in a coach, things you can see. You know, coaches who can see the plays happening before they happen so they can be prepared for them. And, no, I enjoy watching him. I didn't get a chance to kind of get a one-on-one with him. But, I enjoy watching him, man. He's phenomenal.
Do you feel like, from what you gathered the other night as you left, did you feel like this series is basically over?
I think, me, honestly, and I love Clay. I love Steph. Steph is definitely, I agree with everything and all the praise that Steph gets. He's the greatest shooter of all time. I just think that they can't beat the Celtics. I think that the Celtics can only beat themselves. I think that's it. I think when they're playing at a certain level, when they're playing big, when they're using their size advantage. And another thing, they made Steph, from the time the jump ball, they made him play defense. Whoever he was on, They took him straight to the cup. And I saw a guy who I know can play 48 minutes and shoot the ball all night long, look exhausted somewhat in the first quarter. And that was because they was making him play defense. And whoever he was on, they was running him racket. And they was running him right to the cup. Yep. And I just think Steph can't do it all by himself, man. I think it's been a long time since those earlier teams when he was carrying the whole plot, and the NBA has changed so much in those past 5, 6, 7, 8 years that you need 2, maybe 2.5 more people who can come in there and gun. And he's just trying to do it all. Yep. And he needs somebody. He just needs somebody.
Nelly, Skip and I have debated, this has been going on since Steph made it to the finals. I don't know where you have him in the pantheon of greats, but I've said if Steph Curry were to win another title, win the finals MVP, with 2 regular season MVP, 4 titles, a finals MVP, I don't know how you keep him out of the top 10. Where do you have Steph Curry ranked in the pantheons?
You know what? That's a tough one for me, OG. It's hard for me. I try not to do it like that because I'm in that business.
Yeah.
I'm in one of those businesses where it's geared to your taste, right, how you see the game and how you like to play it. But I mean, I would agree with you. I would agree with you that it's going to be hard considering how much he meant to the game. I agree with both of y'all. I agree with Skip. Jordan is the GOAT. I believe LeBron is the king. Like that's kind of simple for me. But you got to understand, when I grew up and I see MJ in a totally different way. But it's kind of hard for me not to agree with Steph being in the top 10, man. He's changed the game so much. He's revolutionized it. He's got the rings. He's got the hardware. And the sad part about it is he's not done. He's not done. And we watched Ray Allen play longer than a lot of people thought, because as long as you can shoot the ball, there's no telling how long he's going to be in. And boy, can he shoot it. Yep. Can he shoot it? And so we don't know where his numbers may be. His numbers may be gaudy. Yep. Maybe seriously gaudy. And it's possible he could catch LeBron for points. I mean, shooting that 3 like that. It's very possible.
So we just have a few seconds left. Tell us, update us on what you got going. I know you're in Nashville now. What's cooking in your career?
Well, in Nashville right now, I'm down here for one of the country music festivals. I'm performing later on tonight for Spotify. As a lot of people know, I had my CD, The Heartland, which is more of a transitional piece. Yep. I don't call it country music. I call it country inspired. Was more or less my celebration for how country music, the aura, the whole thing of country music, how they accepted Nelly from the beginning. And it's been doing unbelievably well, man. And we've been making history with the project. And we're going to rock out tonight. So, yeah, man, I'm down here in some might call it Cashville. They got more cranes than anybody I've ever seen, man. They building this place. It's crazy down here.
Hey,
way to go.
Next time you're in LA, stop by and see you, boy. Stop by Undisputed and see me.
I got you, OG. I have to.
We love you. We love you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Love you guys, too. Bye, Jen.
Nelly, best of luck with all the endeavors. And hey, so much fun to get to peek behind the curtain a little bit of your life. I love when friend families roll deep.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.